I really didn't think Japan was going to have very much difficulty recovering, because I know the people and they're extremely resilient and hardworking, and I actually thought, in an odd way, this was going to help Japan because it would show the world what a strong culture it is. The business world in general was kind of nervous initially, but when we got word back on how our store associates were handling the damage and managing the store and so on, it was very encouraging to us. And the months since then, certainly by June, we were all very sure that the company was doing a good job of repairing and continuing with their affairs.
We get a lot of anecdotal evidence from CEOs of companies, both Japanese and overseas, that they really need to shift their strategy in terms of the supply chain, in terms of issues with power and what have you. Have you made any changes in terms of getting the goods to source across Japan?
Very shortly after the earthquake, there were certain products that Japan was running short of, so we began to supply those to Japan from other parts of the world, either elsewhere in Asia or the U.S.
Japan is #2 for Toys R Us in the world, but last year China's economy, in terms of the GDP, overtook Japan's. Obviously a much bigger population that's getting richer. Retail sales in Japan falling for 2 months after that post-quake increase. How long do you think Japan can hang on to the #2 spot, and where else are you looking to position yourself?
The growth of China is going to help Japan, because Japan is a very strong trading partner with China. We're seeing a lot more connections between Japan and China, and ironically, what is sometimes put forth as a contest between the two, I think is going to wind up helping both. So my guess is 5 years down the road, Japan will be much stronger because of China growth. Whether China actually goes ahead of Japan or not in GDP kind of doesn't matter.
How closely does Toys R Us look at FX levels? Because you could look at it and say, wow, the dollar's at a post-war low against the yen, the euro's at a 10-year low against the yen. This is a great opportunity for us to get cheap products from there, but conversely a terrible opportunity for us to get Japanese products overseas at a decent price.
Well, we do look at FX closely, but it goes up and down, although I will say, when I was in Japan in 1966, it was 360 yen to the dollar, and it's gone, the yen has gotten much stronger since then. But from a business point of view, it's just sort of the background. You just live with it. I think the yen is strong. The Chinese currency is strong. I think Asia in general is going to be a strong currency area. I'm quite happy with a strong yen, and I'm sure the governments will keep it within the right range, so we don't worry about it.
How scared are you of talk of a meltdown in Europe, of a debt crisis in the United States, of a knock-on effect to slow global growth? Is Toys R Us really in a sort of holding pattern at the moment, waiting to see how this will play out, or are you fairly confident?
I'm fairly confident. Toys R Us is a company which mainly sells products that are consumed by young children and babies, and parents are always going to want to take care of their kids. Giving toys to your children at holidays or birthdays doesn't really get sacrificed based on economic ups and downs, so our business is pretty steady. I think certainly some macroeconomic trends are going to affect us somewhat, but we've been around for a long time. We've been through a lot of ups and downs, and we still prosper, and I don't think there are any significantly dangerous ups and downs that are going to cause us to be distracted from our main effort.
We've just moved into Q4. Do you think it's better or worse than last year? Do you think that the full year is better or worse than last year?
It's always better.
In terms of profits and revenue?
Yes.